Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's start our video with a story in which our OP's neighbor regretted snitching on him. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Basketball Scrooge. For months, every time I visit my friend in a rather nice neighborhood, I've seen this car on an empty street with a basketball hoop in the trunk. I mean, the hoop is mounted in the trunk lid removed, and is standing vertically at regulation height. Yesterday, I finally asked him the story. A local dad had put up a basketball hoop on the street. It's an undeveloped dead-end street, so his kids could shoot some hoops safely since there was zero traffic on this road. At the end of a dead end is a fence bordering a trailer park. The man in the trailer on the other side of the fence reported it, and the police had to get the dad to take it down. Annoyed that this guy was preventing his kids from playing basketball, the dad bought a car for a few $100s and had the shop down the road weld the basketball hoop onto the trunk. There aren't any parking rules for that street, except a vehicle can't remain in one place for more than 14 days. So every 14 days, the dad moves the car to the other side of the street. Many folks in the neighborhood now come shoot hoops nightly. The police have left a handful of towing notices on the car, but have since stopped responding to complaints about its presence, so it seems the basketball car is here to stay. Wow, that's one of the most impressive FUs I've ever seen. That's a man I'd like to have as a friend. And our next story. Escaping a hostile work environment by the book. My story starts off as mundane as anybody's. 5 years into working for an enormous corporation, my group was reorged. I was sent from my old group to a brand new, to me, group managed by Jim. Jim seemed an okay fellow with a dry sense of humor and a British accent that lulled me into thinking he was a decent guy. Working for Jim was okay. He was never available, and when we did meet maybe once a month, he'd bark off a list of things for me to do, then say he had a conflict and had to go to another call. I was floundering a little, but felt as if I had a handle on things. During my first annual review via phone, Jim offered up vanilla platitudes about how things were going well, while I heard him distractedly typing away at IMs from people pinging him. He paused when he got to my salary and hedged a bit. So I got you a small increase. I couldn't get you much. To be frank, I'm not going to question how anyone arrives at their salary level, but you make way more than the other people on my team. It was awkward, but not the first time I've had such a pointed salary discussion with a male manager. I've managed teams over the years and noticed the women on my teams seem to make less than their male counterparts, so I get I'm an anomaly, but I'm a high performer in a 25-year uninterrupted career. Shortly after our review, Jim moved on to work with my primary group of business partners, leaving me with no manager, just a 2-up manager I'd never met or spoken to. And that's when crap hit the fan. Unbeknownst to me at the time, my salary was brought up in a discussion with his new team. As it's been relayed to me, Jim didn't blurt out these specific details, of course, but when one of the women complained about something I'd done, Jim said he was surprised there were issues because I was the highest paid person on his, now former, team. He poisoned the well quite nicely for me. Going back through my emails, I could pinpoint the date and time the remark was said because the tone of every single one of those managers changed as if on a dime. If I asked a question, I was berated because you're our most senior analyst. You should know that. Documentation that had sufficed before was suddenly all wrong. There were two particularly hostile culprits, Pat, who managed reporting on the systems we were migrating, and her underling PM, Wanda. Pat came at me quick, fangs bared, with the demand that I put together a plan to get us to the next generation of reporting, which wasn't due to be released until 2021. The 2021 plan Wanda, her PM, had put together looked like notes on a greasy cocktail napkin, so Pat decided since I was the SME, I should do Wanda's work for her instead. Pat wanted a plan from me today, in 2019, through to the date release in May 2021. I can't predict the future, so my plans usually start out detailed in the near term, with increasingly wider swaths of more generalized tasks to be elaborated in detail as we get further along. This is an industry standard approach and was never a problem, right up until it was. Pat started hounding me relentlessly to get this full plan done for her in 5 days, which would have been an impossible task under the best of circumstances. Nonetheless, I put together a 2,000-line long plan working evenings and over the weekend because my arms had been in pain for several months from typing at my home office, and I had to take frequent breaks from the pain. I had to backburner my more immediate pressing work for upcoming releases in the next couple of months because Pat told me I had to prioritize her work over everything else. Pat sighed and bitterly said in front of a half dozen people, including Wanda, "So, you're our most senior SME, and you're telling me you can't do the work?" Pat then decided to up the ante by insisting I run every element of the plan I was creating for Wanda by Wanda, a junior-level PM who didn't understand the systems we were using. Wanda was immediately and clearly out of her element, and obviously so. As a result, every single time she was caught effing up, she threw me right under the bus. She'd preemptively throw me under the bus, too. I didn't know what to do. I was having anxiety attacks. My heart would start racing to 145 beats per minute on the couch at night when I started thinking about work. I was overwhelmed and my arms were killing me, and then the unthinkable happened. My mom suddenly died. When I told the team, they were not only completely unsympathetic, they were pissed. I had to take a week of bereavement for this, and that too pissed them off as I was leaving the day before the deadline Pat had given me to finish Wanda's plan for the 2021 project. Instead of packing for the funeral or connecting with my family, I spent the 3 days before my leave working late nights trying to finish the plan. We met at 5 p.m. the day before I was to go on leave, where Pat and Wanda ripped into my plan and said they would work with another team member to fix all my mistakes in the week I was gone. I had 2 days left before I had to go back to the hellhole, and I was dreading it. When the heart palpitations started up again, I knew I couldn't go back. At first, I decided I would just quit the day I was supposed to return. I wanted to F them over, good and proper. No 2 weeks' notice meant I'd leave them hanging for the near-term releases that I'd not been allowed to finish up my work for, as well as for the 2021 plan. And if I burned a bridge or my reputation, so what? I'm nearing the age where people usually retire or have a major career change. I don't need to keep that bridge any longer. I've saved up enough, and damn it, my health was more important to me than these toxic people or my paycheck. It felt like a solid plan. Then the next morning, I woke up with a plan even more brilliant. It checked all my boxes. I wouldn't have to go back to work. I wouldn't have to give 2 weeks' notice, so they'd still be effed. I would still get paid. My new and improved plan was simple: take medical leave. I needed protected medical leave in the form of FMLA. For those not in the U.S., it provides up to 12 weeks of leave where my specific job role and salary must be protected and available to me upon return. And because it was medical leave, I was automatically enrolled in short-term disability, which meant my company will pay 100% of my salary for 8 weeks, then 65% of my salary for the remaining weeks I'm out. My health issues were eating into my workday, causing me to have to work early mornings, nights, and weekends more than ever, and no doubt pissing off these people who thought I was making too much money to be deserving of any time off for doctor's appointments. My team got a new manager after 6 weeks, coincidentally just the day before I was to come back from bereavement. I was sneakily logged onto work every day to catch his name, and I stealthily dialed into the conference call where he introduced himself to the team. My 2-up manager that I'd never spoken to even at the outset said, "I think we have everyone on the bridge. This job is going to kill me won't be here. She's on bereavement." I called up the administrators of our FMLA and short-term disability plans to file my claim. I got the forms and figured out which of my half-dozen doctors had to fill out what. My orthopedist signed me off for 12 weeks of absence straight away because she'd noted I'd been in pain since May, so it'd likely take a while to heal. After talking with her, my PT, and my psychiatrist, I'll likely do physical therapy for 6 weeks, then enroll in a program for anxiety and stress management for the remaining 6 weeks before returning. All covered by my insurance, and all free because I'd met my out-of-pocket maximum halfway through the year due to a hospital stay for a different medical issue. The night before I was due back, I sat there grinning while looking at the next morning's 8 a.m. calendar invite from Wanda. In her illiterate fashion, she'd written, "It is important all crucial partners makes every effort to attend this call." I opened a new window and typed out to my new manager, "Dear Phil, I hate that this is our first introduction to each other, but while I was attending my mother's funeral, an ongoing medical issue resurfaced, and I'll need to take medical leave immediately. So here I sit on a beautiful fall Friday morning, getting paid 100% of my salary. Jim wasn't happy about my salary when I was working for him. I wonder how happy he is about my salary knowing I'm not having to work for it right now. When I return, I won't be on the 2 projects with upcoming releases. One will have already released, the other will release in less than 4 weeks after I come back. So they're effed on that. I wonder if they figured out the test documents for November haven't been signed off yet. I was supposed to finalize them for sign-off, but Pat forced me to prioritize Wanda's 2021 project over the November work, so the test documents are still sitting locally on my work desktop, untouched. I'll also be returning with a requirement for accommodations, which I'm now entitled to as I've learned I qualify for them under the ADA. No more telling me I have to work from home or hunch over a table in the break room if I want to be in the office. I'm working with an occupational therapist to draft up what those accommodations will be, but a height-adjustable desk, 2 large monitors, and a distraction-free workspace are the top-line requirements. Several times throughout the day, I'll look at my watch while walking the trails with my dog or just relaxing, and I'll smile broadly, thinking about Pat and Wanda's important project plan for 2021. Wonder what poor sod they've roped in to help her finish it now. I still may quit right after I return, or they can just fire me. I'd be indifferent about that. But at least this way, I've milked 12 more weeks of pay out of these a-holes while benefiting from all the free medical and emotional assistance my insurance plan can buy. They say living well is the best revenge, and I can't think of a company or a group of people who deserve my pro-revenge more. The best revenge is living a happy, healthy life. Good on you for choosing your physical and mental health over work. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.